I've been involved in, if you like, the heritage of this area for 50 years, nearly, well, over 50 years now. And it's quite important to me to pass that on to younger generations to come on. Hi there, yeah, my name's Alan Key. I was a Chief Petty Officer here in the Royal Navy. Served on this establishment for over 20 years, off and on, and I became a local historian on the Fleet Air Arm in general and on this area, it's aviation, through Gosport Aviation Society and in the Navy. I suppose this area, Gosport and Fareham and surrounding areas, had so much influence on aviation from this country. As I started here in 1917, which is early days. We still have what's called the Bessonneau hangars, which are the oldest hangars in the country, based on this airfield. And I think there's only 5 left, of which we have 2. It's just that we've learnt over the last few years that heritage is an important thing. We can't just let it die. We can't just turn our back on it. You know, it's the history of where we are. But more so, Daedalus, as it was, is the history of the Fleet Air Arm, because it was the headquarters of the Fleet Air Arm. And that's history that goes back, you know, now over 100 years. It is an important part of British history, not just Hampshire history and Gosport history and Fareham history. It's history in general in the aviation world. During the Second World War in particular, this airfield was so busy, and after the RAF became, or before the RAF came, when it was Royal Naval Air Service, here in Gosport Airfield, the amount of squadrons that formed at Daedalus, and then in the Second World War, this was a main area for squadrons forming up and then going to sea on the carriers and fighting the battles. And then D-Day, just alone on D-Day, this was the busiest airfield in the country and possibly even in Europe. And the first aircraft to go over D-Day left here on D-Day on the 6th of June, and the last aircraft that flew over the beaches on the 6th of June was also from here. It was the busiest airfield on D-Day, and D-Day has become quite a synonymous part of British history, especially around here with the D-Day Museum over in Portsmouth and Southsea. It's just a very important factor of British history. My personal connection with the whole area, is the airfield, was really nowadays is the Gosport Aviation Society, but is now what's called DARG, the Daedalus Aviation Heritage Group. So with Gosport Aviation Society, I ended up being the chairman of it, but we were established to, really by Dave Newbury, who was the old captain here, and a guy called Charles Lee, who was a civilian who worked here, to establish all of our heritage of Daedalus and in the area in general. So there was a group of us who really researched the history and put it all together. We wrote small pamphlets on the area and give presentations and things, still do, on aviation in this area. So DAHG, which is the signpost behind me, the Daedalus Aviation Heritage Group, is what it says on the can. It's a heritage group, and we are always looking for people interested in history and aviation in particular to come and join us, help us research. There's still lots of research to do out there, still lots of facts to look into of the airfields in the area and the different companies manufacturing aircraft, and even now the amount of companies making aircraft components. So really it's a cry for local people involved who like aviation. They don't have to have any knowledge of aviation, because they'll soon catch on with what it's all about, to just come and join us and just be members of DAHG and promote it with their local councillors to say, look, we need a heritage centre. That, you know, it's important for Leon Solent to have a heritage centre. It's a great place to come. It's a lovely, safe beach, you know, good for sailing. You've got Stokes Bay further around the corner. There's some great restaurants here. It's just a great place to be in. And a waterfront development we know from, you know, what it's done in Southsea, what it's done in Port Solent, what it's done over in Southampton. It's really good for the community. And we've had events in Gosport recently based around the harbour area that have drawn in lots and lots of people from all over the place, which is really good. And it can only be good for the community because it lifts spirits, doesn't it? And it makes people feel better when things are happening. They've got things they can go and see and take part in.